Tanzania is officially tired of African Americans, okay? And so I've been hearing some things from some other YouTubers that are actually living in Tanzania.
Have you ever wondered why the immigrants in Tanzania are very, very strict, and why they usually don't try to give an extensions to most of the black Americans? Have you ever wondered why? So I've got you in this video, and I want us to watch this video to the end. Then before we even watch this video, I want to tell you that the reason why most of the black Americans are not given that an extensions to live in Tanzania is because they are not contributing economically to Tanzania. Like, they are unemployed. What are they going to help Tanzania with? Another thing is that most of the black Americans who have always complained, especially to the women, the black women, have always said that living in Tanzania is very difficult. And do you know why it is that way? It is because of language barrier. But because of that, I don't want to waste your time in this video. I just want us to watch this video and give you the disadvantages of living in Tanzania. But again, I also want to teach you on why this thing is happening.
About as you're thinking about coming home, coming back to Africa, whether it's Tanzania, Rwanda, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa, Ghana, Sierra Leone, wherever it is. And I just encourage you to be open-minded. Definitely be open-minded and just see the beauty of the place. And before you leave, you really have to have a disdain for America. So you really have to be so tired of the West so that when you do come out, you know in your mind that you're never going back, that you never want to return. And you don't have to return if you don't want to. You literally don't have to. No matter how many people you see that end up not liking Africa or end up, doing whatever, I'm telling you right now, there's people from all over the Middle East, Lebanon. There's people from Lebanon that go to Sierra Leone and just build communities there. And so it's possible to stay here, and it's possible to build community here, and to have your entire lifestyle here, and to love it here, and to just live your best life in Africa. It's possible. You can do it. You can live your dream life in Africa. We're doing it. We know people who are doing it. And the crazy thing is, a lot of these peoples and nations, they've been here for like decades, like a long time, established companies, established different things. And I just really, really, really hope that our people can start to do that too, all over Africa, not just specifically in Tanzania, in Sierra Leone, in Nigeria, wherever. Because Africa is truly gorgeous, y'all. Like, let me just show you my view. This is my home. This is my view. I come up here to work during the day if I'm doing campaigns in the daytime. Like, I can never get tired of this, like, ever. And so I would never, ever, ever think about even stepping foot in America again. I hope by the grace of the Most High I would never have to do that. And I hope that you too can experience this greatness, even when you feel like it's difficult, or when you feel like you miss fast food in America, or whatever it is that makes you want to go back there. I encourage you to stay on the ground here, make connections, explore different areas, definitely explore. If you are subscribed to our channel, you know that we went to the mountains last week, and you can check out that video in the description below. I'll link it so you can see that. The oldest mountain range in East Africa. I didn't know that when we went there. I only found that out afterwards doing some more research. So that was incredible. So just explore, just be free. Get rid of the mental shackles, right? Because all of these thoughts that you need fast food, and you need all of these crazy health insurance premiums, and all these things you need that you really, really don't need at all, like 0% you don't need it. That's mental slavery. That's mental instability, right? Because you're just connected back to something that you don't need. It's a lie. The truth is that you don't need it. What you need is a house and food. That's what you need. Everything else is a want, right? So that's what I have to share with you right now. The American disadvantage. Get over the American disadvantage, and you can live your best life in Africa too.
Now, when you leave to Tanzania, you'll find that there are a lot of problems. One of the problems is a law in bureaucracy, law and the bureaucracy. That means that you can never get that truly yours on legal documents unless you pride corruption officials who later turn against you. They turn against you and say that you broke the law. So that's something that I want to tell you, that most of the officials are very corrupt. Like they'll bribe you, you give them some money, then at the end of after sometimes they turn against you, and it is something that has always happened to most of the Black Americans. Again, I also want to tell you that Tanzania offers Swahili lessons. Like you need to get to learn most of their languages. Like Swahili is something that they major on. Now, before that, I also want to tell you that when in fact there is no other ways of getting something even as simple as residence permit, let alone trying to own an home and actually get a 1-year name of title deed, it is really impossible that from someone that is from Temeka live there most of it and still have plenty of family there. So you also have to know that in Tanzania there are a lot. You can't be given a permit to own a title deed or to own a land. They are very strict. Like they have that notion that what are you going to contribute to their country, and it is because of that they usually not give an extension to most of the Black Americans. Yes, so those are the two things that I have come to learn, that you as a Black American, you as a Black Caribbean who wants to visit Tanzania, do you know why they find it very difficult for you to let you get an extension in their country? And it is not only Tanzania. I've also found that it is in many countries, especially in Africa. Now, let's take this serious note. Let's take it this way. The reason why they are giving you that restriction is because me as a Black person, me as an African person, how do I get to live in America? How? I need to have certain amount of money that is going to help me sustain myself in that country. And again, it is not only that one. I'm also have to have something that is going to help contribute to the economy of that American country. So it is just the same way with Tanzania. How are you going to contribute to their country? So that's why they usually give a restriction to their country.
Tanzania is officially tired of African Americans, okay? And so I've been hearing some things from some other YouTubers that are actually living in Tanzania, in East Africa. And Tanzania, I had heard that they had a program where you could learn Kiswahili, which is a language that covers a lot of East Africa. It's like if they took an official language of Africa, one of them would be, lingua franca would be, or African language that's indigenous, it would be Kiswahili. So Tanzania had met African Americans halfway. Okay. They apparently they had, if you could get a 2-year visa to stay there if you actually took a course and became fluent in Kiswahili. And what a lot of my people did was they didn't do it. They didn't show up. They didn't go. This is what I heard. I don't know. I've never been to Tanzania, so I don't know. But they're talking about on Kinganda channel about that there are African Americans living in Tanzania illegally, because a lot of my people had never traveled before and they didn't understand about visas. Now, I guess most countries the visa is only 3 months. You get a tourist visa. Okay. There are other visas too, work visas and, work permits and residency. Now, when I was in Turkey, I had a residence permit and I could work there. I could work there legally. The thing is this, as O'Shea, his name's O'Shea Duke Jackson, who runs the channel, was saying, he's an African-American guy, and, he's just being upfront with things. He's not trying to sugarcoat it or make, pat people on the head and baby them and anything. He's just being upfront. And I appreciate people like that will come up with tell the hard, cold facts. Yeah, people don't like it because we live in a time period, and I certainly know now where people don't like the truth. Okay, if you're not making it sound like a fairy tale to them, they don't want to hear it. And so, he was saying that, a lot of our people go and, what the Tanzanians were expecting. He said the regular people on the street, but the Tanzanian officials and the immigration officials are looking at things like, well, the Chinese can do this and that. The Russians can do this and that. Other groups, they have something to bring to the table here. Okay. And I think when you go to a country, if you are going to stay there, you need to have something to contribute to that country. Okay, you need to have something to contribute, not to be a drain on their resources. So what's happened with some of my people, they're there illegally. Likely what has happened, because a lot of people, now I'm not saying a lot, well, I can't say a lot, most African Americans are still here in America. They're not leaving. Okay. But what some people did, a segment of the African American population did during the pandemic when they were giving out the stimulus checks, they, everybody got the parents would get each parent $1,400. I think the kids was $600. And so they took the money and they decided, I don't like it here in America anymore. I hate it here. It's racist. I'm leaving. Okay. I want to go back to the motherland. So they used the stimulus money, and they didn't understand. They didn't do any research. They didn't find out what the cost of living was like, whether there were jobs in Africa, what kind of jobs you would go for, if any. They didn't do any research. They left solely on emotion. And that's something you don't do. You don't go and leave your country and go, I hate this place so much. I'm just going to go solely on my emotion. And I know nothing about the place, nothing about the culture. I can't speak the language. I don't know how people are going to take me. I don't have anything, and particularly if you don't have anything to bring to the table. Okay. Now, when you go to a country, the best way to do before you go to a country, you should already have something going for yourself, being a digital nomad, or you should be, or maybe if you're working for an international company or something, or an NGO. One way, now I don't know about parts of Africa. Now, I do know a little bit about Egypt, because I was looking a few years ago about teaching jobs in Egypt, but Egypt doesn't pay very much. But one of the best ways to get your feet in the door in a lot of countries, if you are an English speaker, is to become an English teacher. Okay. Now, it was easy for me in places like, Turkey, when I worked in Turkey, because now I don't know what the situation is. They are looking at, when you come to a country, the people in immigration, they are going to look at, now, what is this person bringing to this society? Okay. What are they bringing to the table? Are they just here to be sort of a parasite on the system? Places like Africa, there's no safety net, no welfare, no, nothing, and you need to, this is why I talk so much about reading, and I'm going to continue to emphasize education. Okay, for everybody, and particularly for women, you need education. Education is an important foundation. This is it's like the foundation of a house. If you just build a house on some sand or dirt, you have a big flood or something, or a storm, that house might go down. Okay, you need something strong, and education is like the building blocks of your life and your career. You need it. Okay, if you can get it, you should work hard to get it. But anyway, people will treat you differently. I know when I was in Turkey, the first thing that sometimes people, if they could speak English, they want to know what I was doing there. Okay, because I wasn't in the tourist areas teaching. Okay, a lot of times, and I tell them, a teacher, oh, you're a teacher. It's like, oh, she's here to help us. She's not just here, Yes, I'm a teacher. I take education seriously. I'll tell you 2 incidents. Now, in Turkish, there is a word called hoca. And the first time I heard hoca was from these little folk tales that they have in Turkey. They're little humorous tales about an imam, I think an imam. His name's Nasruddin Hoca. Okay? Hoca comes from Persian, and it basically means teacher or my master. Okay? And so, and when somebody is called hoca in Turkey, it's a sign of respect. People that are educators, people that are wise. I just think this is an important lesson to people. If you are going to a country, this is anybody, okay? What are you going to contribute to that country? Okay, are you just there a drain on their resources, or are you there to really bring something of quality to the country? Are you there expecting the state to pamper you and baby you, and and be entitled? I never went to Turkey thinking that I was entitled. Okay, most I ask for is just good enough accommodation, being treated right. That's all I asked for. But I wasn't there, looking to be bathing in luxury and them babying me or them or feeling that they owed me something. They didn't owe me anything. Okay, they owe me nothing. I went there because I'm an educator and I felt I wanted to practice my profession, hopefully in peace. I went to Turkey in 2003. I saw that the people seemed very friendly. I didn't know what to expect when I went there. And as being African American, a lot of times we wonder, should I go there or are they racist or not? And so they were very friendly. And I thought, hey, I'm going to apply for work in Turkey. And then later, my mother actually paid for my certification course so I could be certified.
Now you as an American, you are someone who has not established a community yet here in Africa. So you'll find it very difficult to settle here in Africa. So because I want to tell you that you as American, there are also some established Indians, established Iran's who live in Africa, especially here in Kenya. So you'll find that these people, they assimilate they so easily, is that they have established communities which they strongly stick to. This helps a lot with the culture shock and settle there from a different world. So this is something that is also getting you not to settle in Africa. Now, for example, you as American, you don't have those communities established yet in Africa, to where you have people help you settle and give you tips on where to stay, how to assimilate. So also you have to notice that living in America, they mostly like to keep to themselves. This is not a bad thing, but it makes it difficult to establish that community when you are isolated. That's why it is easy to like the place as a tourist, since you are there for a short time, but actually living there as another story. So yes, you will always come to Africa living as a tourist. That's something that I've found that most people don't want it. They just want to live as illegal immigrants. And it is because of that Tanzania is very strict. They always give 3 months on stay, and they are not going to extend for you. So crazy facts that I also have in my desk here, that some of the Black Americans, they just take their funds to Africa and start building communities. Like, in order for you to build communities, the person who survived this way is Afro Think Tank. Afro Think Tank went to Nigeria and started helping the community. And it is up to that point that he was paying fees for some of the students, some of the pupils in that community. And at the end of it, he was given a leadership in that community. Like, he's now assistant chief. Now, I want you to check his channel. Is called Africa Think Tank. Now, I think that what messes you as brothers and sisters in Africa is that we as Africans, it is because of lack of immunity. You'll find that a black American person has built a community very well, has brought assets, has built schools, but in the end of it, is not being regarded as a member of that country. So also, you'll find that it is very, very crazy that you have to invest your money and resources in land where you can barely speak and understand the local languages. So that's why I also told you that in Tanzania, they offer languages, they offer lessons for you to study. Like one of my sponsors who sponsors me here, he went to Tanzania to study Kiswahili. And I also found it is very difficult to study Kiswahili because it took 6 months. But at the end of those 6 months, do you know what happened? Up to date, he doesn't understand Kiswahili. So one of the things that is really, really breaking us out is language barrier. And you have to understand, yes, you have done your research well, you have done your research, you have known where country you want to live in, but that thing that is making you lag behind is studying or learning their foreign language, learning their local language. Now I also want to tell you that this lady who you have seen her video, you'll find that he has taken centuries living in building communities. Those Middle Eastern speak, behave and act just like the locals, and you too will have to do the same. Yes, you'll find that this lady has adapted to the locals, has adapted on how he's speaking talking to the locals. So it is just the same way that you need to adapt to the local communities. And how do you adapt to this? You need to take many centuries to understand this, to see that you don't need to get mad on why are they surviving and you are not surviving. Because in most of my videos, if you scroll, you'll find that there are people who got disadvantaged in living in most part of the Africa, and you will find that they will come with cheaper things, which are now cheaper dopamines, which are not even helping. So this is why I brought this video. One of the quickest and substitutions way of integrating into these African communities is through marriage, and Africa is kindly waiting more genetically diversity. In biology, they call it a hybrid vigour, where your African spouse is a legal and social anchor who will help you get over quickly in ways that are otherwise nearly impossible at ease history. Now you get your spouse here in Africa, then you buy land in Africa. That's the quickest and the substantial way that you live in Africa. That's also, I also want to encourage that. One, I have talked about the language barrier. Two is also about the marriages. If you want to settle in Africa very quickly, is through marriages. The reason why I'm talking about it is because when the much vented Lebanese, Indians, Chinese, etc. go to Africa to settle, they bring them money, lots of money. They also don't come back as the lost children of the diaspora. That's why I don't have a problem with them settling in their own title communities. Now, for someone who comes back without any money begging to be let in, they are returning home. Now you'll find that most of these African Americans who come to Africa, they're usually the middle class. There are people who don't after some time they go broke. It is something that I don't think it is right for you. If you want to settle in Africa, again, you don't need to have a lot of money to settle here. It is just about those things that I've told you. Now for someone who comes back without any money begging to be led because they are returning home, it is a bit rich to turn right and around and form a separate community that essentially holds their noses down at the people who will let them in. It never ceases to amaze me that if you find yourself calling yourself a returnee, you must integrate. No separate community for you. Otherwise, we shut the door for all these immigrants in Tanzania. No more Swahili lesson visas. However, if you come in as an investor, by all means, build your own community. You're not part of Africans. You are not what? Part of Africans. You need to build your community. That's why I was telling you that you need to have a community. The same way Indians have. You'll find that Indians they usually live as a community. Like you'll find when they hire a house, they are only for Indians. So they have created a community that also help other Indians who want to come to Africa to settle. So it is also the same way you as a Black American, you need to do this. African Kenyan or as a Kenyan person, I believe that the great things we have outweigh the issues, or maybe I'm biased because I love my country Kenya, but I want to encourage everyone to come over, and when you do, then I need you to understand that respect the culture and traditions, visit different places in the country, open your minds to opportunities, and if you decide to stay, learn the languages. It will give you an added advantage. Because when you go to shops, when you go to do shopping, I believe you all know that Africans, when they see you, they will bargain. They will not only bargain, but they will give you higher prices in items. And I'm telling you this for a fact that you will suffer. You will suffer in the hands of Africans. And it is not only that one. They will also feel that you are not part of them, and they will discriminate you. So I don't want you to feel that way. I want you to learn the language of Africa. When you're moving to Nigeria, try to learn their languages. Try to learn like Yoruba. When you move to Ghana, the same way. When you move to Cameroon, Ghana, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, learn their local languages. This only applies to people who want to live more than 2 years, or 3, or 5, or 10, or whatever. But learn their languages. I don't want to talk much in this video because there are 2 integrated videos I will also talk about. Now, I want to give you a letter here that you as an American, American was built as you should build this home you want. First, always learn the language of any country you are going to live for at least 2 years before you travel. Now, many Americans or many Africans go to Europe and learn the language first. Yes, so it is also the same way you also need to do. Second way, also learn more trade skills. Learn trades like electric, plumbing, etc. like skills. You need to have a skill that is going to help you get money. Also, if you are not going to learn a skill, you need to also have somewhere where you are going to get money to invest in that country you want to live in. Now, then there you will live in paradise. Believe me, because in Africa there are a lot of freedom. Ask those people who have lived in Africa. They'll tell you that there are a lot of peace, there are a lot of peace of mind, and they're trying to say that those things that they got traumatized in there in America, they don't want their children to also get through it. So it is upon you guys to learn what I've told you in this video. And thank you for watching this video. My name is Golden Boy. See you in the next episode. Yes.